How we doing, everybody? We're talking about mastering the mind, manifestation, and keeping our level of consciousness high, or at least trying to raise it in a really difficult time on Earth right now when it seems like there's just so much chaos being thrown our way. I'm going to be doing about 10 minutes here, and then we're switching over to the subscription. Okay, so I'm just doing 10 minutes here, and then if you want to listen to the rest of the manifestation Mondays and Fridays, we do the rest of it in my subscription because we're following the laws of the universe. What's up, everybody? If you're giving, you should also be receiving, always, right? So that's a big thing in our life. A lot of people end up over giving and they don't receive anything. So that's part of mastering the mind and manifestation is, in order to receive, you have to give, and giving, you should always also receive. Yes, I'll post this live. Yes. The subscription is literally $4.99 a month to subscribe, and it's an amazing channel. And I'm not just saying it because it's mine. I'm saying it because we're building such a really good tight community in there, talking about like how to manifest what it is that you want, why you're not manifesting, understanding all of these things without giving this a label, without saying this stuff is new age. By just looking at the world that we live in as energy. And in order to master the mind, we have to see the world. We don't have to, but seeing life as energy. And understanding that if we shift and change energy even a little bit, our reality also has to reflect that. So if you're in a relationship, let's say, for example, you're in a relationship and it's not ideal for you. You don't want to not be with this person. But what are your thoughts towards this relationship? It's always so hard. Why doesn't he or she treat me like this? I never get enough attention. Our energy is focused on the negative things. So if we want to master the mind, we have to focus on what it is that we do want. And sometimes if you're with a person for a really long time, it's very difficult to see things from a totally different perspective than what you're experiencing in your reality. But in order to master a relationship, in order to master the amount of money that you want, in order to master the type of lifestyle that you want to live, no matter how simple it is or how extravagant it is, in order to get these things, you have to be able to master your mind. Mastering your mind is also mastering your energy. Because if you allow your mind to run away every single day with negative thoughts, your aura is pulsing out just negativity. So what you're going to receive back in this reality is more of that negativity coming to you. So if you want to have all the money that you desire, you can't spend your entire day thinking of how you can't afford this. How am I going to pay my bills? And it's challenging. It's beyond challenging to say, well, if I don't have this amount of money, how am I supposed to think about having everything? Make a gratitude list. We were talking about the exercise by Bob Proctor where he says, every morning, list 10 things that you're grateful for, whether it's the plants in your house, the bed that you sleep in, the people that surround you, a best friend. 10 things. I'm grateful for the pen that I'm writing this with. 10 things you're grateful for. Send love to 3 people that have done you wrong. And then meditate and ask for guidance for your day. What is it that I need to do today? There's something that I'm working on, and the night before I said, I need help finding the perfect so-and-so. The next day, went looking. No. Oh my God, yes, this is perfect. Because when we pulse out the energy that things just work out, all of a sudden they do, and you're like, oh, wow, this is nice. This is a lot easier than I thought. But when you constantly sit there and you're just like complaining about how sick you are, or oh my God, I just have headaches every single day, or whatever it is, you're magnifying and amplifying that energy. And then that energy is just finding other energy like it and bringing it back to you. This is exactly what I needed to hear today. Thanks. It's hard to change your thoughts. However, making the list now, that is the thing or the work that most people don't want to do. Nobody wants to rewire their subconscious mind. I can assure you. You're not just like, oh my God, I can't wait to rewire my subconscious. It's one of the most difficult things you will ever do. The most difficult thing you will ever do. And if anybody else tells you other than that, they're lying. There's healers, people that do this work, and they still haven't figured out their own shit. So you can't tell somebody that it's easy when you still haven't even done the work yourself and you're actually a healer. It's not easy to do this work, but it is life-changing. So if you in fact do want to change the way your reality molds for you, you got to change your thoughts. I just read a post. Somebody commented on my brother's post because my brother's going off the rails with this whole Israel thing. And someone said, yeah, my son is terrified. Like he doesn't even want to leave the house because he read about Iran saying like this is going to be a night that you'll remember in history forever. Whatever the quote was that they said. And she's like, he's scared to death. That's the whole point of why they put out this propaganda. Because they understand the map of consciousness. So if you're not mastering your mind and you're letting these motherfuckers master your mind for you and scare you into submission and scare you into not leaving your house, to scare you into not traveling, to scare you into not living, you have no power. You will never master your mind when someone else has a hold of it. So, map of consciousness. I've only talked about this 1,000 times, but for those of you that have never seen this, this is the survival paradigm where the majority of humanity lives. The lowest is shame. If you're a person that does harbor shame, and it's not your fault. This is why we're learning. We're learning to change it. They shamed you if you didn't get the vaccine. If you wanted to go and see your grandparent, you're a grandmother murderer, whatever they were calling people. If you didn't wear a mask, they shamed you and said that you're selfish. You don't care about other people. Because they understand the human psychology. And it all comes back to energy. This is just an energy chart. The lowest frequency is shame. How do they get you to be obedient? They shame you. They'll publicly shame you, which is why it was so important for me to speak out against all of this. Nobody is going to take my power from me. Nobody is going to shame me for the decisions that I make. No one is going to make me feel afraid. No one is going to make me stop living except for myself. So when you catch yourself starting to live in fear or not doing things because they said this is going to happen, you're not living. The people that have been controlling this realm, they understand this. So if you want to master your mind, you cannot allow yourself to give your power away to any figure, any person, but yourself. There's shame, there's guilt, apathy, grief, fear, desire, anger, and pride. That's all considered the survival paradigm. So if you live in a state of fear or in a state of anger, every day you're going online and you're fighting with random strangers about politics, about why your religion is better. You don't have power. Because if you know that what you're doing makes you powerful, makes you feel balanced, makes you feel harmonious. If you do that, no one has control of you. If no one has control of whether they make you afraid, make you sappy, make you sad, make you happy, you're on your way to mastering your mind because you understand these principles, you understand the laws of the universe. You understand that you're the only person that has control of your reality. When no one can make you do or say something. When you're in a relationship with someone and they just don't have that effect over you anymore, that is when you start to take back your power. That is when you start to master your mind. Charity! Karen says, my religion is the Earth School. I might just stay out here today. I'm going to stay out here today. But I want you guys to join the subscription because it's an amazing tool to work on mastering your mind. I put all of the best videos that I've seen, all of my best things that I have done myself to help shorten your journey in mastering your own mind. Have I mastered my mind 100%? Absolutely not. This is a lifelong journey. When we go back to the map of consciousness and we talk about the spiritual paradigm, hi Sherry, they only recorded like less than 5 people that have ever gotten to the level of enlightenment. One was Jesus, Buddha, and Krishna. So you can imagine the difficulty of mastering the mind. To reach the level of spiritual paradigm, we have survival paradigm down here, which is where probably 95 to 98% of humanity lives down here. So if we have this many people that live down here, that's why there can be so much death and destruction out there. If you live in a state of any of these things, fear, shame, grief, desire, anger, pride, how many people do you know live like this? The majority of people that I know live like that. So prideful, so full of anger, so full of fear. Why? I don't want to, aren't you afraid to travel? Like they're going to bomb here and they're going to do this. You have no control over yourself. If you're listening to all the propaganda that, oh, Iran has weapons of mass destruction. That jerk-off's been saying this for 25 years. It is to keep people living in a state of fear. And as long as you live in a state of fear, you're never going to be able to master the world and have the world that you want. Because fear is a low frequency. We don't want to live in low frequency. We want to live in higher frequency. If you say that Jesus is your Lord and Savior and you don't act like him, you can't sit there and say you're trying to move into the spiritual paradigm. You can't. Jesus performed miracles because he was an enlightened being. We can only hope that we're reaching to get up to the spiritual paradigm. This is survival down here, where 90% of humanity lives. Then there's reason and integrity that comes next. Reason and integrity is courage. When you start to all of a sudden speak out against the things that you believe in, not even as an activist, but maybe with a product that you were afraid to talk about because you didn't want people to judge you and think that you're just trying to sell them something. But this product changed your life. And now all of a sudden you're using your voice and you're like, I want to tell everybody about this. This has changed my world. That's courage. It takes courage to get in front of people, get in front of your peers and talk about something that you love because maybe they won't approve of you. Maybe people won't approve of the things that you believe in. But when you get to reason and integrity on the map of consciousness, you don't care what other people think because this is my world that I want to create. And if I want to create a better world, I can't care about what people think that live in the survival paradigm. I can't worry about all the people that are so angry that if I speak out against the Lord Trump, someone will get mad at me. I've been speaking out against him the past 2 weeks. Unfollowing you. How dare you? Trump this. Nobody is my hero except for myself. And people that really, really inspire me that are doing great things in the world. And maybe he's doing great things. But I don't agree with what he's doing right now. So it takes courage to go against the people that follow you, that believe in their political leader. I don't believe in politics anymore. I believe in me making a change in this world. So that comes from courage. So I now live in reason and integrity. Am I in the spiritual friggin' paradigm? Absolutely not. Okay, so let's just go up. Reason and integrity, we're here. This is the middle. We have courage. The first step getting out of the survival paradigm is courage. Courage to make a change. Courage to start and do things differently than you've been doing them. Then you go to neutrality. Neutrality is higher than courage. I know I'm in a state of neutrality because I don't take sides with anything, whether it's family quarrels or anything. People want you to take a side. I don't take sides because I'm just seeing things from a different perspective and I'm looking at this and this. And then I give my perspective on both sides. That's living in neutrality. not having to pick a side, a Democrat or a Republican, Judaism or Catholicism, Christianity or Buddhism. It's saying if I'm just an amazing and good person, I don't have to choose being in a box. I don't have to choose a belief system where I belong somewhere because I have the courage to stand alone. I have the courage to know that if I'm a really good person, I'm raising my level of consciousness regardless of what religion tells me they approve of or they don't approve of. So courage, then neutrality. Above that is willingness. The willingness to see things differently. The willingness to try something else. Above that is acceptance. Do I accept people for who they are and what they believe in? I can disagree with them all that I want. I can say that that is so shitty. I could say that you're not evolved. I can say all of these things. But can I accept a person for where they are and what they choose? Because it's their right to choose whatever they want. Whether it's religious, political, any kind of opinion. Do I live in a state of acceptance? This is all raising your levels of consciousness. So when people say, oh, you sound like someone on the left. I don't give a shit about the left or the right. I don't care if they all jumped off of the bridge together, holding hands, chuckling. I don't care. You can be whatever you want. It doesn't mean that I don't like you. It doesn't mean that you're not my friend. But when you normalize abusing children and things like that, yeah, I have a real strong opinion about that. Right? This is also congruent to the 7 chakras. Better not say that too loud. People are going to say you're new age. We have chakras. It's called an energy system. So whether you think, believe, understand, your religion doesn't say this, religion is a crock of shit. Anyway, I'm not going to be judgmental. I accept you for whatever you believe in. I accept you for whatever you believe in. But when you don't understand your own energetic system and then you label it as something that it isn't, you're just energy, and the chakras are energy systems, you don't understand your own body. Anyway, then we go to reason. Then we go to a state of being in a state of reason. Can I reason with other people? Do you see it? Do you understand? This is where this summarizes everything that we're living in right now. I can literally just talk about this religiously and politically. This entire map of consciousness. Okay? Read Matthew chapter 6, verses 24 to 34, very relevant to what you're talking about. So do you see we can relate to each other in every way, regardless of what our beliefs are? There are things that will explain what I'm saying in just a different way somewhere else. And somewhere else will explain what I'm saying just in another way than what I'm saying. But this map of consciousness can be your guidance for everything that's going on in the world. And you look at yourself and you ask yourself, where? This is actually my own journal that I created. It's called Love More. But the map of consciousness is by David Hawkins. So if you want to look up just look up map of consciousness on Google, and there'll be a nice colorful chart. There'll be a nice colorful chart that tells you exactly this, okay? So if you want to understand more of why your world is the way that it is, just look at the map of consciousness. Where do I resonate most? Am I constantly in a state of shame? Do I shame myself every day and say, you're too fat, you can't wear that? No, you shouldn't go to that party because, there's a lot of people that won't talk to you. I'm ashamed for what I've done in my past. Because if you recognize where you live on the map, I know it's backwards, but if you recognize where you live on the map of consciousness, your whole life will start to make a whole lot more sense. Because if things aren't going the way that you want them to, refer back to this. Where do I live? If I'm in a state of upset all the time, if I'm in a state of depression all the time, if I'm in a state of not having all the time, where do I live on the map of consciousness? What decisions am I making? And in order to raise your level of consciousness, you start to make different decisions, better decisions for yourself, whatever that looks like. So again, this is the survival paradigm where the majority of humanity lives. If the majority of humanity did not live down here, they are on their way to mastering the mind. when you're on your way to mastering your mind, you're on your way to mastering your energy. When you're on your way to mastering your energy, your entire universe, which is everyone in it, starts to shift. Because your energy transmutes other people's energy. The higher you go on the map of consciousness, okay, the more people's energy you transmute. I'm going to go back to this now. I've read it so many times, but it's so important. So David Hawkins had this frequency scale, which is called the map of consciousness. Shame measures around 20. That's the lowest you can go. There's nothing lower than shame. Anything below 200 is powerlessness, destructive energy, moving away from source. Why do you think these assholes sit there and put propaganda on television 24/7 and scare the living shit out of you? Because it's keeping you in the survival paradigm where powerlessness, destructive energy, okay, that's where that lives. And when you reach the highest point of enlightenment, which measures 700 to 1,000, this is up here in the spiritual paradigm, which Dr. Hawkins has only been able to pinpoint very few beings at this level, including Jesus, Buddha, and Krishna. However, the most fascinating part about this, as long as we are vibrating above 200 is here, which starts at courage. The rest of this is survival. So as long as we're resonating above 200 as a human, one human, we can neutralize negative energies on a much larger scale. If one person is at level 300, 300 is willingness. It's actually 310. So it's willingness, right? If one person calibrates at willingness, let's see. They have the ability to transform the negative vibrations of 90,000 people. One person is at willingness. You can transmute the energy, the negative energy of 90,000 people. I'll continue. This is so important. I've read this page so many times. I can't even begin to tell you. At 500, one person, if you are at 500, 500 is love. So if you just emanate love, you are love. That is getting into the spiritual paradigm. You see that right here. 500. Okay? You're at love. One person that just lives in a state of love all the time can transform the energy of 750,000 people. You understand how huge that is? And at 700 to 1,000 is reaching the level of enlightenment. 700 to 1,000 is at the very top here, and that's enlightenment. And there's only been less than 5 people that have been recorded at that level in the spiritual paradigm: Jesus, Krishna, and Buddha. One person at the level of enlightenment, this is going to make so much sense to you, why'd they kill Jesus? One person that reaches the level of enlightenment can transmute the energy of 70 million people whose energy is below 200, which is the whole survival paradigm. So Jesus, if he was here right now, and he was an enlightened being that he was, just because of him existing at such a high level, he can transmute the negative energy of 70 million people. It's like a whole city. So now do you understand why they killed him? They didn't want him teaching anyone else how to do this shit. They didn't want him to teach people how to calibrate up to the spiritual paradigm on the map of consciousness. As long as they can keep people in the survival paradigm, you're never going to master your mind. They have control of your mind. They actually own it. They own your mind. They actually own your consciousness. Literally. If you live in a state of fear, if you live in a state of, I can't have this, I can't afford that, I wish I never did this in my life, I'm so embarrassed, you're living in the survival paradigm. And as long as you live down there and you allow people outside of you to scare you and you never change your level of consciousness, you always live in this survival state, you'll never master your mind. And as long as that happens, you'll never go up the ladder of consciousness. So that means what? If there's always people outside of you that can make you feel a certain way, make you feel sad, make you feel happy, make you feel powerful, make you feel powerless, make you afraid, you will never master your own mind, and you don't have ownership of it. But if you continue to go up the ladder to the level of consciousness, all the way up to spiritual paradigm, which I don't think they've recorded anything maybe of any human. You know, there might be people that we know of. Can you guys give me an example of who you think might be in the spiritual paradigm? They're still available. They're on my nourishmyretreats.org if you want to order one. Is there anybody that you could think of in the last 50 years that you know of that could possibly be considered someone that lives in the spiritual paradigm? Who would you say? I'm trying to think, and I can't think of people. But I know that there's a couple that'd be like, oh, you know what? Who are some of the monks? Does anybody know? Is anybody alive? Not me. Definitely not me. Guys, who else? Help me out. Who can we think of that has helped humanity tremendously? Thank you, Karen. Who has helped us tremendously? Can someone just help me? Who else? Who were some of the, like, monks? Dalai Lama, thank you. People like that. Those are people that can be considered those that raise their level of consciousness to a very, very high level. Did they reach the level of enlightenment like Jesus? Now think about this. Think about the people that you watch or that you're really inspired by, or people that are changing the world. Stone Cold Steve Austin, I don't think that he's one of them, but thank you for that. I don't think that he's one of them. What was I saying? Yes, people. Okay, so social media has even made it a lot easier for us to recognize those people, see more of those people in this lifetime by spreading their word, by spreading, you know, okay, so there's a page of a girl, I don't even know her name, and she's like, I do something positive or I post videos of something positive every single day. Like, that's a person that's changing the energy and the frequency of the planet, whether she knows it or not. Princess Di, not at that level, Princess Di was uplifting. 100%. Those are people that are higher vibrational beings that will do things to change the world regardless of the consequences. You know what I mean? People that are willing to die for this cause, because we're the only people that can change it. We're the only people that can stop this from continuing. And there are high vibrational beings on earth. Maybe they're not at the level of enlightenment like Jesus was, but people that just inspire every day, people that help you to change and people that help you to grow. Those aren't people that are living in the survival paradigm. Those are not people that live in shame. Those are not people that live in anger and in grief and in fear and desire. They live in courage. They live in willingness. They live in acceptance. Some of them might even live in love. Living in love, I think maybe people might not have the right idea of what that means. Oh, I love everyone. That's different from just love emanating from you no matter what. I don't know who Steve Schultz is, Charity, but I believe you that he's a high vibrational being. I want to look at who that is, Charity. But these type of people that are inspiring, those are people that are living in a higher vibrational state. And it's like, well, how can we get there? And it's very easy to start changing your level of consciousness. You change the way that you do things. You change the way that you look at things. And when the way that you look at things are different, it changes, right? Maybe you would see a homeless person on the street and be like, oh, there's so many homeless people around here. And maybe you start to change your ways of thinking to kindness and care and compassion. And you say, you know what? I'm going to go buy this person some food. That's changing your level of consciousness. You see the difference? I know people that say, oh, I would never live around. It's disgusting with all these homeless people. Do you think that's a person that lives in a high level of consciousness? Absolutely not. A person that treats others like shit, that are considered below them. Do you think that's a high vibrational person? It's not. And the crazy part is like, you don't have to be a high vibrational person to get what you want, which sucks because that's not fair, right? You could be the biggest piece of shit on earth and you can have everything because it's your belief that you can get whatever you want. A lot of kids that are really spoiled growing up, like, they don't think about not having something. They always had it. So even if they grow up to be the most shitty people on earth, they still get what they want because they're just like, I never had to work for anything. Like, everything comes easy to me. It's a belief. It's an energy that you put out that life is easy, even if you're the biggest asshole. St. Francis' love for animals and nature. So a lot of these people that were canonized saints, high vibrational beings. Isn't it weird? Let's ask this question and let's answer it together. Isn't it so weird how, like, there aren't really any more people that are considered like saints? They don't canonize people like that anymore. How come there's like not really that many high vibrational people like that? Because they do everything to lower the vibration of this planet and make it very difficult for people to be kind and generous and joyful and balanced. It's very difficult to stay balanced when constantly you're being fed war. But that's because we as a collective have a war consciousness. And if you want to master your mind and you live in a state of war consciousness, you're living in a state of fear. You're living in a state of probably paranoia, sadness, depression, hopelessness, watching all the destruction, watching all these people die. We have a war consciousness collectively. And in order to change the paradigm of planet Earth, we have to get out of the survival paradigm. We have to. And if we don't, we will continue to live on this prison planet. It's really that simple. So if you want to master your mind and everything else in your world, we have to take our power back so that we have our mind, we have our consciousness, and we understand that we can co-create this world. If we are in a war consciousness, we are co-creating war. I don't care what anybody says. You cannot argue what energy is. If you have a war consciousness, you probably don't even know that you have a war consciousness. You're helping to co-create war and destruction. So if you think that this is just too much work for you, you are helping create war consciousness. But it's too hard. My mind just thinks one way. I've always been sick. I'm always going to be sick. I never get what I want. It's just the way that it is. I'm just not lucky. That's an energy. That's a consciousness. And it's a lie. Because we are co-creators of this reality. So if you want to change the world that your children, your grandchildren, your great-great-grandchildren live in, you need to do the work. You need to do the work. You need to put in the work no matter how hard it is. Being at war with yourself is harder than being at war with anybody else. We can do it, Charity. Charity has the most amazing energy and I love her. I work with her with LifeWave and I met her through LifeWave. Amazing energy. But that's another example, like working with LifeWave. There's so many light workers that are within this company because we're literally working with light, utilizing our own body's light. And if we're giving our body more light, it's going to help us to elevate. And we can do it. So I'm going to conclude there for today. Join my subscription channel. It's amazing. It's this information all day long. I put in different challenges, different homework stuff, different videos, different reprogramming the mind videos, things like that. So if you want to join my subscription, it's in the thing. It's $4.99 a month. So don't tell me that you can't afford it. I love you all. See you on Monday. And I intend that this was incredibly helpful. And let's raise our level of consciousness together. Adios.